Hello, and welcome to the Bear Me Alive podcast.
I'm your host, Technicality.
And I'm your host, Ghostly. How are you doing today, Cal?
I'm doing good.
What are we talking about?
Today, we are talking about the Hopkinsville Goblins.
The Hopkinsville Goblins?
Yep.
Was that from The Wizard of Oz?
No, it's a town in Kentucky.
Kentucky doesn't exist. What? That does not exist.
Yes, it does. Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Hang on, I'm Googling it.
You just said Kentucky doesn't exist.
Kentucky.
You are aware of that, Ghostly.
Hopkinsville.
I'm not letting this slip
It's
by.
a real place?
Yes. You're surprised by the U.S. names?
Evidently.
You should look up some of the weirder ones. This is tame. This is really tame. But anyway, the Hopkinsville Goblin case, also known as the Kelly Hopkinsville Encounter, otherwise known as the Kelly Greedman case, refers to a series of sightings of our little guy on August 22nd, 1955, around 8 miles north of Hopkinsville, Kentucky, at the Sutton farmhouse. In the farmhouse, there were 7 to 11 people. The articles don't like agreeing on the numbers, but there's 5 to 8 adults and 2 to 3 children. Families saw what were later described as gremlin-like creatures with long arms, upright pointed ears, claw-like hands, and long arms. Though their limbs were described as non-functional, possibly in a state of atrophy. They had no noses or necks, with bulging, glowing eyes, bald heads, and were said to be a silvery color or wearing something metallic.
Then why the heck does... You sent me a bunch of images, by the way. Why the heck does, the 4th image have a nose? They look like Voldemort.
I suppose everyone draws them differently.
Dude, if one of the main characteristics is don't have a nose, why would you give them a nose? I say this as someone who draws cryptids for his job.
Because people don't care. They just want to do what they want to do. They floated above the ground, sometimes being seen in high places, walking in with a motion like they were going through water. They never entered the house, but they looked in through the windows and popped up in the at the doorway, scaring the entire household. In a tragic moment of poor decision-making, they decided to shoot their goblin friends with their firearms.
Alright, really quick. We need to go over the cryptid safety rules. If you see a cryptid, don't run. Go up to it, talk to them, get an autograph, take a picture, get a hug, email us said picture, and talk about your encounter. Make sure you have a measuring tape on you so that way you can measure their height and wingspan. Alright? And for the love of God, do not shoot cryptids. Just because you see a creature that doesn't look normal does not mean you should shoot it, or that if it's even a cryptid. A lot of cryptid encounters are actually animals that people, mistook for something else. So you're just shooting a harmless animal.
Especially because they were being polite about not going through the doorways.
They're not, well, they might be, partially kind of like a vampire. You have to have permission to come inside the house. But they sound more mischievous than actively harmful.
Well, luckily the firearms had no effect at all. They just didn't care.
Get screwed, buckaroo.
The family drove from the farmhouse in the middle of the night, arriving at the police station at about 11 p.m., and reporting the incident to Sheriff Russell Greenwell.
What are these names?
Anyways, the family returned to the farmhouse, though it doesn't say that if they brought the kids or not.
Where would the kids be?
At the police station.
They just left their kids at the police station?
I'm not sure. It does not say. The kids were 7, 10, and 12, I believe.
They're perfectly fine to go hang out with some cryptids.
Yeah.
Dude,
with multiple officers and the sheriff. And what was an astounding performance of our little guys, the encounters continued even once new people were introduced. The police saw evidence of damage to the house, strange lights, and heard weird noises.
Good for them.
But...
I hate but.
In another article I read, the story does go slightly differently. This is a combination of two different articles' stories, so it's a little bit weird in terms of sequence of events, but I tried to piece it together the best I could. The article talks about the event being reported on a local Kentucky newspaper called Kentucky New Era. And the story starts with 21-year-old Billy Ray Taylor, who was staying at the house with his wife on a trip visiting from Pennsylvania to see Elmer Lucky Sutton, whom he previously worked with in a carnival.
I need to stop making comments about the name. Elmer Lucky Sutton?
Sutton.
That's worse! Elmer.
Like Elmer's glue. On a trip visiting from Pennsylvania to see Elmer Lucky Sutton, whom he previously worked in a carnival with, and the rest of the Sutton household, which included 50-year-old Glennie Lankford, her 2 adult sons.
I'm not going to say anything, just know that I'm laughing.
Their wives.
I'm not going to say anything, just know that I'm laughing.
Her 3 younger children, and a brother-in-law. Billy described going outside to grab water when he saw a silver circular object with multicolored exhaust pass over the house, hover in the air, then drop into a valley nearby. When Billy went back inside and told the others, no one believed him. So he stayed inside for almost an hour before the dog started barking. So he grabbed his gun and went back out. But he saw a goblin-like creature with huge glowing eyes and disproportionate hands wearing a metal plate. So he went right back inside the house to get a better gun, and Lucky grabbed his gun and joined him. Because that's the correct response. Yes, this gun isn't good enough. I'm gonna go get a better gun.
Also, what kind of metal plate and where?
It just describes a metal plate. I assume somewhere.
I'm assuming it's like, I'm guessing a chest plate or something.
Probably.
Except my first image was like a dinner plate. Just taped to them.
That'd be lovely. Or like on top of its head.
It's a nice hat.
Uh-huh. It's just...
Throwback to the Loveland Frogs episode.
Oh. We need more cryptids with hats.
Amen.
Anyway. They fired at one who apparently raised its hands like it was being arrested before it did a flip to get away. Later, one of the creatures looked in through the window at Lucky, and he fired at it, blasting the window screen, but doing no damage to the creature, so he was just shooting his house.
that just looks so stupid. Can you imagine being a police officer and getting a call because there was gunfire, and you get to the person's house and they're like, well, there was a goblin outside my window, so I shot it. It got away.
They went back outside to see if they hit it, when Billy felt a large hand grab his hair from the roof above him. He escaped, and they saw one on the roof and one in the tree. Lucky fired at one, and though he did knock it down, there was again no apparent damage. You'd think he'd learn his lesson.
People are stupid.
Yeah. The goblins were gone after that, and the families drove to the police station. According to this article, the police found nothing but a broken window screen. But at around 2:30, Miss Langford kept seeing one of the goblins glowing by her window. They're just messing with her at this point.
Do you have Cheez-Its? Please tell me you have Cheez-Its. It's just me at 2 a.m.
Yeah, it was actually ghostly.
Wait, what year was it?
1955.
I'm a ghost, so that tracks.
Sadly, these encounters were most likely with barn owls, given some of the characteristics fit, though some things are a bit off, just due to glowing eyes, weird sounds, and the ability to fly.
Science facts with Ghostly, who's in biology. So, the type of eyes barn owls actually have are highly reflective to any kind of light. So it could be that the type of light that they had in the house was reflecting off of the eyes. Oftentimes people mistake barn owls for having glowing eyes, as well as other things like red milk cranes and such, due to the type of filament in their eyes. It makes it super, super reflective, so any kind of light can make it look like they're glowing. And because they have warmer toned eyes, it often looks like a glowing of yellow or red. An example of this that is not a land animal is the vampire squids, who are deep sea creatures and have the similar thing in their eyes. So whenever light hits them, it looks like they're glowing blue, but they don't actually have glowing blue eyes. They're clear because they don't need an eye color. But for the barn owls, it is very possible that the glowing eyes were the light reflecting.
Yes. That's awesome.
Science! Sorry, I was like, ooh, I have a biology fact for this one.
Also, have you ever heard the screech of a barn owl?
Mm-hmm.
If anyone...
They're so loud. They're so loud.
If anyone doesn't know, go look up the screech of a barn owl.
There's something.
They're genuinely terrifying. It sounds like someone screaming.
They sound like a human.
Mm-hmm.
They sound like a small child screaming.
It's great.
It's great. I know, it's so lovely. It's my favorite.
It has a supernatural ability. So we've discussed, it seems to be able to defy gravity and bulletproof. Which could have...
Wicked reference. They're defying gravity. Sorry.
So that might be consistent with the flying, and bulletproof is weird, but they could just be really, really bad at aiming. Fun facts about these guys is the Pokemon Sableye is actually most likely based off of these guys and their common depictions. Also, I haven't confirmed this, but possibly E.T. is based on these guys.
Reese's Pieces? No.
Oh, so you're right with the Cheez-It thing.
Yeah! They just wanted Reese's Pieces. I love E.T., dude.
Mm-hmm.
That movie needs more love than it gets.
We ignore the fact that I haven't watched it.
I will fight you. I love that movie, dude. I think I have the CD somewhere. I will watch it.
Yeah. But
Sorry.
that wraps up our little goblin friends.
I like them.
Mm-hmm. I figured we'd do a happy episode after.
Yeah, just really quick, I do want to mention our last two episodes were loaded with very heavy material. And we appreciate all y'all for listening to our heavier episodes as well as these fun ones, because sometimes you do have to prioritize. I am going to check if you can get plushies of them really quick to add to my cryptid plushie collection. Please tell me these exist. Oh my god, they do exist. I'm buying one of these. A lot of them are green for some reason, but they're not green.
They're described as silver, but I might have missed something where they're described as green.
Yeah, I like these guys.
They're fun.
I missed having fun cryptids we can call our friends. You guys are welcome to come down to the therapy session.
You guys just seem like gremlins.
We know that getting shot at can be quite traumatizing. If you want to talk about that, that's great. And I'm sure you guys will get along swimmingly with the Loveland Frogmen.
We'll bring Reese's Pieces and Cheez-Its. Don't worry.
We always have snacks at the meetings, so we'll just get you some extra ones.
Okay. So, if you ever see little goblin men outside of your house, then you say hi to them, you offer them Reese's Pieces and Cheez-Its, and you get an autograph and send them on their way. Also, if you have a hat, give them a hat, because I want to see the goblins in the hats.
Please give them little party hats with pom-poms on them. I think that would be very cute. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Bear Me Alive podcast. As a reminder, I'm your host, Ghostly.
And I'm your host, Technicality.
Listening to our show is huge support, and we are so grateful for anyone who listens to us, because we honestly just kind of ramble about whatever topics we like talking about, and it means a lot that y'all listen. So if you do want to support us, there are ways you can do that. If you're listening on YouTube, you can go ahead and subscribe to us. You can like this video. You can leave a comment. Say something nice in general, or say something nice about the Hopkinsville Goblins, because they're just little guys. And if you're listening on Spotify, go ahead and rate us. Press that little star button so that way more people see our silly little thoughts and interact with us through our Q&A and poll features, because, again, we love hearing your guys' thoughts. We hope to hear and see you guys again sometime soon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.